Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Ameristar Casino, Council Bluffs, Iowa. Wow, what a Thursday show we've got for you today. We are brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Beef. LSU is headed to the College World Series final after one of the wildest games you will ever see last night at Charles Schwab Field. They take down Omaha. We're talking about it for the next 90 minutes. We are going to talk a little bit of Saints with Luke Johnson coming up in the next segment, but the rest of the way is pretty much LSU baseball centric. Joe Healy from D1 Baseball with us at 1:30, as he always is. And we'll talk with Chris Blair, the voice of the Tigers, at 2:15. Plenty to get to, and we are fired up that you are here with us. I think there are probably a good number of you that are now headed north to Omaha over the next 24 to 48 hours. If that's the case, do so very, very safely and with a big old smile on your face, because LSU did a heck of a job last night. Let's talk about it. We'll start the same way we start every single day. That is, of course, with our Genesis opening drive. Man, oh man, I don't even know where to begin. Look, I think last night, as I try to put my arms around the entirety of it, was probably a perfect encapsulation of the last 40 years of LSU baseball and the last 20 years of Arkansas baseball. And that's a little bit harsh toward Arkansas probably, but I don't know what else to say. LSU, over the last 40 years, has been here 20 times and won 7 national championships. You go back to Todd Walker hitting the grand slam or the walk-off single. You go back to, obviously, Warren Morris. You go back to Brad Cressy and Brad Hopp's theatrics in 2000. And you look at the unbelievable things that LSU did in 2009 with DJ LeMahieu getting the big double in the 9th inning of Game 1 and Matuk coming through with the single to bring home the winning run in Game 1. And you look at the unbelievable performance of Ty Floyd in the championship series, Tommy White's walk-off to get him there. Like, you just go through the moments that get LSU to the promised land, and that's why they got a big freaking sign in right field of Alex Box Stadium with a massive amount of national championships up there, and you can drive over to Fayetteville and you'll find the nice facility you're going to find, and there's not one championship flag to be flown in there. And that's because Arkansas is a great program. And they get to Omaha and they don't do it. And LSU is a great program, and they get to Omaha and they do it. And last night was a perfect encapsulation of that. You look at last night, and you look at what Landon Beidelshees gave Arkansas. Sensational effort. It was his best outing of the year. Best outing of the year for Beidelshees. This is a guy who did not go a scoreless outing against an SEC team all year. And he worked into the 6th inning without allowing a run. Now, he ran out of gas in the 6th, and those 2 runs that were inherited by Gabe Gackle did come around to score thanks to Jake Brown, and we'll talk about that in a second. But Beidelshees was sensational. And Gackle came in and punched out 4 and looked really good. And they got huge hits late in that game. Justin Thomas out of the 9-hole just with 2 phenomenal ABs, and he drives in what looked to be the winning 2 runs in the 9th inning. It's a great plays by Arkansas. But on top of those great plays, you've got mental errors. Wahiva Aloy, SEC Player of the Year, best player on that team, first-round pick in a couple of weeks. Ground ball to him. He doesn't do the winning thing. He doesn't do the championship thing and start the double play. He does the easy thing and flips it over to third base. Mental error. You look at Charles Davalon in left field. That ball's got to be caught. Now, Luis Hernandez, ton of credit to Luis Hernandez. He's facing a tough arm, and he ripped it, hit a missile. Ton of credit to Luis Hernandez for that. But the ball hit Charles Davalon in the shoulder. He's a college outfielder. Doesn't make the play. And then Jared Jones comes through with what LSU just does up here, and he knocks the ball on a breaking ball away just out of the reach of Cam Kojal into center field for a hit to bring home the winning run. Arkansas was great last night until they had to be. LSU was great last night and then was great when they had to be. And that's an encapsulation of what LSU has been as a national championship program and the standard in the sport. And Arkansas cannot get over the hump. And I thought Dave Van Horn made a critical error, my opinion, and Jay Johnson did a great job, my opinion. And it came on Jake Brown's two-run single that gave LSU that lead. And I thought that that was a coaching error by Dave Van Horn to allow it to get to that point. Because Stanfield's coming up, and he goes to Gackle, and you have to know, he walks Pearson, and you got Gackle out there, and you have to know that Jake Brown is coming off the bench in that spot. Like, this is not someone buried on LSU's depth chart. This is the guy who is hitting for an elite batting average, who's been awesome in the postseason, who's red hot, and absolutely feasts on right-handed pitching. And Dave Van Horn, instead of electing to have Gackle pitch to Pearson, who's hitting what, 250? He elects to walk Pearson, bring Stanfield up, and you know Jake Brown's coming off that bench. And Dave Van Horn, I think, made a critical error in allowing that to happen. You've got to let him pitch to Pearson with the base open. He didn't. And Jake Brown came up and got a breaking ball over the plate and put a beautiful swing on that thing to put it into the left center field gap. And I have a hard time pointing to Dave Van Horn and going, hey, you got to do a better job with your left fielder catching the ball. You got to do a better job with your shortstop making the decision to throw the ball to second base and start a potential double play. I didn't know in real time if there was going to be a double play possible with Milam running. I'm sitting there in the press box real time. I didn't know. You go back and watch the replay, absolutely. And those of you that were watching the television copy, which I wasn't, I was in the press box. Obviously, Chris Burke made the point of that. I was like, you got to be kidding me. You got to throw the ball to second base. I have a hard time blaming Dave Van Horn for those two things. I can point directly to him with the decision to allow Jake Brown to come into that ball game. And I hesitate to encapsulate Dave Van Horn's entire career into one decision right there, but it didn't help. And I think Dave Van Horn is a legend in college baseball, the same way I think Mike Martin is a legend in college baseball. And I think that he's put a phenomenal product on the field almost every year for this Arkansas program. And I still have a feeling that he's going to win one of these one day because you're that good that often, it's going to happen. But that was not good last night. And on the flip side, Jay Johnson was brilliant. Brilliant. Because in that spot, he was going to be okay if Brown pinch hit, and Dave Van Horn said, okay, you've now pinch hit, you brought in your left-handed bat, I'm going to Gibbler, the left-hander. And Jay was okay with that because he felt like he had seen a lot of Gackle. It was going to be hard for him to come back in a game that would have been Thursday, and now you're getting Gibbler into the game in the middle innings. And he felt like at that point getting those two arms in the game was going to help him on Thursday. He was managing a Wednesday game with Thursday in play. And that's why he is a brilliant coach. He's an awesome recruiter. He's an awesome roster builder. He's an awesome motivator. He's an awesome coach, and he's a great game manager in that way. He did a brilliant job last night. Every button he pushed was good. He got the ball where he wanted to with Chase Shores in the late innings, having a chance to finish the deal. Chase got beat a couple times by really good swings. It wasn't like the regional, where Chase lost the strike zone, walked the bases loaded. No. He got beat because they hit him, because they're really good. But all along, Jay was thinking, I got to go to Shores, and then I'll go to Ianson if it's close to close it. And that was the plan. And he got it to Shores, and then Arkansas had other plans because they're really good. And they changed those plans. He goes to Myers. You get the punch out. By the way, big strikeout to leave that run on third base. And then the offense comes up and puts enough pressure on Arkansas's defense that the best defensive team in college baseball this year melted down. And, man, I'm sitting here. If you're watching the YouTube stream, I'm in my purple and gold today. I'm fired up. I'm thrilled that LSU's moving on to the championship series, and that's my only concern. And I don't feel bad for Arkansas fans because I don't really care about Arkansas fans' feelings. It's not the most journalistically inspired talking point on this. But, I do understand what they're going through because that day where your dream dies is a really tough one. And Arkansas is not in our situation where we've watched this team hoist the trophy 7 times. They're still looking for number 1. And to have that thing feel like it was within your grasp because you've won with the no-hitter, and then you came back and you won another game with UCLA, and then you've got LSU on the ropes, and you've got a multiple-run lead in the 9th inning, and you feel like, okay, we're hot, and we're going to do this. We're going to put the pressure on LSU, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to have enough bullets in the holster to get by Coastal, and we're going to get this thing done. It's going to be magic. And then it's just ripped away in the period of, 10 minutes in the 9th inning? Being in that ballpark last night was amazing. I tweeted this out with my game story. Like, I wasn't here for Warren Morris. I wasn't here for the Tommy White home run. Like, I was here for Beloso hitting the extra inning homer, but that wasn't a walk-off. If we're just talking about walk-off hits, I wasn't here for Cressy. Like, that's the best one I've ever seen. And you're talking about a program that is just littered with electrifying moments in this town, and last night was a pleasure to watch. And based on the text messages I received in the moments following that single by Jared Jones, it feels like I'm about to get a lot of company up here in Omaha that's dressed in purple and gold. I think that half the state is about to board a plane or hit the road. I've got family members that are coming. I've got friends that are coming. Rivers and Alondra from the station just hopped in a car, and they're driving up here today and tomorrow. I think they will not be alone, and it's going to be an awesome, awesome weekend. This is the first time that LSU's used the winner's bracket in this format. So now a couple of days off to reset everything. Certainly Coastal has that advantage as well, but it sets up very, very nicely for LSU to take on Coastal Carolina. I'm not going to spend a lot of time today on Coastal Carolina. That's for tomorrow, and then we're going to have a special Saturday preview show just like last week from 2 to 4 right here at the Ameristar in Council Bluffs. But that'll be time. That's 4 hours that I've got to discuss Coastal starting tomorrow. I'm going to spend a lot of time on what LSU did over the last 3 days and certainly last night to get to this spot where they're knocking on the door of national championship number 8. And what a brilliant ball game last night. Just a classic in Omaha, and LSU comes out on the right side of it 6-5 as they've done so many times over the course of their program's history. That is, of course, our Genesis opening drive. Our travels and our shows all week long from the Ameristar in Council Bluffs have been brought to you by our presenting sponsor. That is, of course, Our Lady of the Lake Help. And also, shout out to the folks at Yuengling Beer as well as GoFlow IV Spa for making all of this possible. It has been an absolute treat to be here, and I'm getting texts saying, are you sick of Omaha yet? Absolutely not. This is when it gets really, really fun. I'm having a blast and thrilled that y'all are coming along for the ride. So we'll take a time out. We'll come back. We'll chat a little bit of Saints with Luke Johnson, and then we'll continue on with a baseball conversation with Joe Healy in 15 minutes. Don't go anywhere. This is a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Something here. Here it is. Okay, I couldn't find this. It goes this here.
Don Juan Cigar Bar. Located in Town Center, Don Juan is the perfect place to enjoy a great cocktail, beer on tap, a wide selection of scotches and bourbons, and of course, a fine premium cigar. Sit back, relax, let the time fade by. Don Juan Cigar Bar. Great cocktails, great cigars.
What did you not have plugged in?
The same thing that I didn't have plugged in 3 days ago. I'm not all that bright, but we get it figured out because Bo is.
Good job.
Mm-hmm. I like that our conversations are heard on YouTube as well. Shout out to the chat. Y'all can enjoy my technical ineptitude.
I really don't understand why they can hear it either, because Jordan, because the mic's not on, it's off, so I don't know how they're able to hear it. Because Jordan said he talks to Jimmy and them, and nobody says that in the chat that they can hear him. So I don't know what the deal is.
We like to bring the chat into my my pathetic nature in terms of the technology. So
I guess.
At the Bryson Law Firm. Our headquarters are located in Lafayette, Louisiana, and we have offices across the state.
Hey, do we have Luke here?
yes.
Okay.
Solution Law Firm, or visit brysonlawfirm.com. LSB filing number LA2416924.
Ready to take your brand awareness to new heights?
Experience the power of audio and digital marketing combined with Guaranteed Digital Media.
Our radio branding messages resonate through the airwaves, leaving a lasting impression.
Combine this with digital tactics like retargeting, geofencing, and social media to really boost your reach.
Imagine your radio ad complemented by targeted digital ads, ensuring your brand is seen and heard across multiple platforms.
To learn more, visit 1045ESPN.com and click Connect. That's 1045ESPN.com and click Connect.
Need a vehicle while yours is in the shop? Or planning a weekend escape? All-Star Toyota has you covered with Toyota rentals.
Whether it's a service appointment, a visit to our collision center, or just a weekend trip, choose from a wide range of dependable Toyotas, like the fuel-efficient Corolla or the versatile RAV4. Affordable rates, easy booking, and legendary Toyota reliability.
Rent today at All-Star Toyota on Airline at Goodwood. Cars you know, people you trust.
Warm weather is here. Make sure your AC is ready. Call my friends at River City's 1 Hour Air and schedule your AC tune-up and rejuvenation and get $30 off for a limited time. They'll keep your system running cool and efficient all summer long. And don't forget the Moscona special. Save $25 on any cooling or heating repair. Call River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001, 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Take a swing around the parish to one of Breck's 5 golf courses, 2 championship courses, Santa Maria and Beaver Creek, and 3 courses for the more casual golfers, the popular 18-hole Webb Park, and 2 9-hole courses, City Park, and the newly renovated J.S. Clark. Breck's courses are designed to challenge every level of golfer, from beginner to pro. So come and get into the swing of things.
Luke's on.
Or find a course near you at golf.breck.org. That's golf.breck.org.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms. Live from Omaha, powered by Our Lady of the Lake, Championship Health for everybody, and presented by GoFlow Ivy Spa and Yuengling Flight.
Chugging along here, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We are brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Going to be telling you about the fantastic stuff they got going on at Sagrera Farm all show long. But just know, 4th of July is coming up. If you want some of the best beef in America, top 1%, it's right there, just 30 miles outside of Baton Rouge at Sagrera Farms. All right, let's talk a little bit of Saints. We'll change gears and get back to LSU baseball here shortly. Let's talk some Saints with Luke Johnson of The Advocate, good enough to give us some time on these Thursdays. Luke, how we doing? You enjoyed the baseball last night?
Well, I don't know if enjoy is the right way to describe like what was happening for a bunch of that night. My group chat that I'm in with a lot of our shared college friends was whatever they were unhinged. You know, let's just put it that way. Saying some not so kind things about some players until some players totally redeemed themselves. But it was really fun at the end. I'll say that.
Look, it's one of those deals that postseason baseball, it's so brutal and miserable to sit through, and you wouldn't have it any other way. And generally speaking,
That's right.
It works out for the purple and gold. It certainly did last night. We'll see what they can do over the weekend. Let's talk about the black and gold. Let's talk a little receiver, Luke. Obviously, towards the end of last year, it was a mash unit. You have now seen Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave. What can you tell us about where they are physically and what kind of role that those two guys can play on this team?
I mean, they look good right now. And, you know, I think it's fair to be, like, reasonably concerned about whether they can hold up over the course of a full season. And neither of them have played an entire season in their NFL career. But I think if you look at Shaheed, I looked this up yesterday. I think he played, like, out of a possible 35, like, his first 35 career games, he played 33 of them. You know, Chris Olave had played in, like, 15 and 16 games his first couple of years before dealing with the concussions last year. And obviously the concussions have been a recurring problem throughout his playing days, even going back to Ohio State. So it's a cause for concern. But, like, as far as just, like, holding up, like, they've shown they can do it at least to a pretty high degree in the NFL. Like, I don't think you can just, like, say, yeah, I think they're going to play all 17 games this year. But, like, it's not unreasonable to say you think they could play 14 or 15, which would be pretty good. and then you just see him move, and you see him play, and you're like, yeah, well, those guys are super explosive, super dynamic. I would argue one of the more fun 1-2 punches in the NFL when they're on the field together. And you add in the whole Kellen Moore of it all, where he's just shown a way to get his best players to football in ways that'll allow them to succeed throughout the course of their career. So like I'm excited about the potential of it, even if there's like a little bit of it that is just it's caused you to be uneasy because of the injury history last year.
I wasn't wild about the Brandon Cooks signing. What are your thoughts on what he adds and where he fits?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't really understand it. He's like a older diminished version of the two guys they already have, right? Like I really thought that this was going to be the year they were finally going to add that kind of possession receiver they've been missing since Michael Thomas wrecked his ankle in week 1 of the 2021 season. It was like they just haven't added that in years. They still don't have it on the roster. I think Cooks maybe could be better than he has been the last 2 years. Injuries were a big problem for him last year. But the fact is he hasn't topped 700 receiving yards since 2021, and he's going to be 32 years old, and he's 5'10", $190. It's like he's the same player as Olave and Shaheed from a frame standpoint, from a what he does well standpoint. So that I'm still in a extreme wait and see with that one.
Do you think that the Saints currently have their entire receiving core on the roster? Or there's still an anticipation that they might try to go add somewhere?
I mean, I still think there are guys out there who could help. Even if they're not going to be somebody who's going to come in and be one of the primary targets. I think there are guys who fit the skill set that I'm talking about, who could be your chain movers, and they have cap space if they want to spend it. I also think there's a chance though that they're gonna see what Bub Means has. He's kind of in that mold that we're talking about. He's not big, but he's 6'2", 210, somewhere around there. And in the kind of brief moments that we saw him on the field last year, he looked good. Obviously, he missed the end of the season because of injury. He didn't really get to see it when he had the big opportunity in front of him. But, maybe they just kind of see what they have there with him before they consider adding to it. But I think there are still a lot of guys out there who need homes and, guys who potentially fit what the Saints could use. And again, they don't even need somebody who's going to be a high volume receiver. Tyler Boyd might be completely cooked, but he's also exactly what they don't have on the roster right now. If he's your number 4, and you can put him on the field in third down situations when he could be really useful on 3rd and 7. I don't know if I might give that a look.
Yeah, I'm nothing's perfect, but how do you feel about the ecosystem that Tyler Shoug's being dropped into here, from the offensive line to the weapons to the head coach?
Well, I feel really good about Kellen Moore. Every single step of the way, you just look at what he's done throughout his career, with varying offenses and varying strengths and weaknesses of those offenses, and it's been successful every time. So I feel good about that. I feel good about the offensive line. We're gonna have to really just wait and see exactly what it looks like, because we didn't get a very good glimpse during OTAs and minicamp when they did zero contact whatsoever. But I think pending at left guard makes a lot of sense to me. I think a top 10 pick at left tackle makes sense to me. I think moving Fuaga to the right side, where he was really, really good in college, you could potentially take a player who is really good as a rookie and make him even better, playing a position that's more natural for him. So I think there's a lot to like, but it's also just very flimsy, much like last year's team was. They obviously went through the ringer injury-wise, but they also just didn't have very much depth behind those guys. So I think they're kind of a little bit on thin ice still, especially at receiver. And especially talking about two guys who are both coming off of. They played in between them, like 12 full games last year. Olave appeared in 8, but like 2 of those he played like 2 and 8 snaps. So, there's a little concern there. They don't really have much beyond those guys. So, like, I feel good about it, but it's like not like an uneasy good, if that makes sense.
It does. I mean, like I said, nothing's perfect, but I think that's the most important thing for this franchise right now is like how much development can you get from Shook and how quickly. And I think every decision that they make has got to be geared around that. So with that kind of said, to kind of close things up here, like salary cap wise, they finally have a little bit of room, a little bit of coin to spend here late in the cycle. And there's not a ton out there, but like, do you see a name or two that makes some sense here before we get closer to training camp?
Well, I mean, the one that really stands out is the one I also think that they have the least chance of signing, this Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
At this stage of his career, it is what it is with the Saints right now. Even if they're much better than people think they're going to be, that's like a hard sell for a guy who's like never won anything in his career, who might only have like 2-3 years left in his career to like come to a team that's clearly in this like rebuilding stage. But like I think he would be like ideal if you could get him in and be like, you're going to be our move the chains guy. You're going to be the guy we need to go to when we need to have it, and give us a higher floor in case these 2 studs that we have on the outside are not able to make it through the full season. Beyond him, there's some guys out there who I think could help. Yeah, like Gabe Davis obviously is the guy they've visited with. He's a guy who's coming off a really down year in Jacksonville, but like has shown he can do it in the past, and would just like add a different type of element to what they currently have. I just think there's guys out there, but there's also to consider, like they're still going to have to pay off like some money on Derek Carr next year. They're still going to be in a little bit of like not as bad, but a little bit of a cap bind next year. So like if they can roll over a bunch of this money into 2025 or 2026 rather, like that might be something they're looking forward to doing, and then really getting themselves set up to just be like kind of free and clear in 2027.
Luke, we appreciate a little bit of time. We'll talk next week, man.
Sounds good, man.
Luke Johnson with the Advocate covering the New Orleans Saints. Good enough to give us time on Thursdays. And our Thursday shows are brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Look, this is just a different experience than most of you have probably had in terms of where you get your beef. If you're looking for sides or whole cows, big quantities of some of the finest beef in the nation, in the top 1% in the nation. And we're talking about ground beef, we're talking about ribeyes, fillets, strips, chuck roasts, if you want to put something right there in the slow cooker, like all that you can have in your freezer for months if you just call my guy Sean Sagrera at Sagrera Farms. Call him at 719-1723. Their process is 3 years. It's 2 years on grass, finished on grain, dry-aged 45 days. And when you pick up your beef from Sagrera Farms, you're going to know that the entirety of what you bring home to put in your freezer comes from one animal. It's not a ton of different DNAs jammed into one, stuffed in a packing plant and pushed off. No, it's all one animal. And it's some of the finest beef in America, just 30 miles away from Baton Rouge. So call Sean Sagrera at 719-1723. Say, hey, 4th of July is coming up. I'm trying to get the grill fired up. I'm trying to get the smoker fired up. Get some of that premium Angus beef. Sagrera Farms. They bring you our Thursday shows each and every week. I'll step aside when we come back. Joe Healy from D1 Baseball. He was in the ballpark last night. We'll talk to him next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Safety is a big deal. And that's why every single model, from the entry level all the way to the highest end at Genesis of Baton Rouge, is an IHA top safety pick. Some of them are top safety picks plus. You're shopping for a new vehicle, obviously safety is going to be top of mind, whether it's the sedan all the way up to the SUV. No matter the model you get, you're going to know you're in one of the safest cars on the road. Also, a luxury vehicle, and every new purchase comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty and 3 years of complimentary maintenance. It's all part of the experience of being a Genesis driver. Go by and see them. Airline at Pico, across from Women's Hospital. And check out the inventory online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. That's Genesis of Baton Rouge. Online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
Insurance companies have teams of professionals to fight your claim. If you want to know what your case is really worth, I'm Spencer Callahan. I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA filing number 16-7970.
Our listeners depend on us for traffic, weather, news, and sports. But unless Washington acts, big tech companies could shut us up and shut us down. Big tech takes advantage of outdated federal regulations that could put us out of business. It's wrong. Text radio to 39179 to tell Washington to modernize decades-old restrictions on local radio and TV stations before big tech makes us disappear. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
We are the soldiers of the Louisiana Army National Guard. We are your neighbors. We are your sons and daughters. While we serve part-time, we are learning valuable life and job skills. We are earning money for college, for trade and technical schools, and for certifications. We are proud to serve both our country and our home state. We are your Louisiana Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Water is water, right? Not when it's Evermore. Smooth tasting Evermore water is Mother Nature's masterpiece. Evermore is natural artesian water. Maybe you want a healthier lifestyle, a high-end athlete who wants better hydration, or a parent who wants something healthier for their kids. You want Evermore. EVAMOR. Evermore. Available at great local retailers.
The DQ Sauced and Tossed Chicken Strip Baskets have more flavor than your taste buds know what to do with. We start with all white meat, breaded, seasoned, and fried to crunchy perfection. Next, we double down and toss them in honey barbecue or new buffalo sauce. Serve them up with DQ fries, Texas toast, and house-made Hidden Valley Ranch, and you've got flavor on flavor on flavor. Get the Sauced and Tossed Chicken Strip Basket in honey barbecue or new buffalo right now at DQ. Happy tastes good. Participation may vary.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Looking for a reliable and hassle-free trash removal? Trash Rangers is your answer. Go to trashrangers.com for residential pickup, commercial pickup, and roll-off dumpsters today.
Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. 5 brands on one lot. Shop BayouAutomotive.com.
Live from Omaha, powered by Our Lady of the Lake, Championship Health for everybody, and presented by Geaux Ivy Spa and Yuengling Flight. This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We are here at the Ameristar Casino, Council Bluffs, Iowa, just across the river from Omaha, Nebraska, where we watched a classic last night, and there's still more to be written in this 2025 College World Series. Joe Healy from D1 Baseball's SEC Extra Team has been here for all of it, good enough to give us a little bit of time here on this Thursday. Joe, have you recovered from that one yet?
I think my heart rate's dropped a couple of beats, but not too much less, more than that. And I rode the elevator up last night with 2 older women who were LSU fans, and one of them said to the other, I didn't think I was going to make it. I thought they were going to have to defibrillate me. And I think that's probably how we all felt at the various points of the night.
Well, you probably saw me over to your left. I was just a mess. I don't do very well in those press box settings, but LSU got it done. Let's talk Arkansas first, because I think that's an important storyline here, and certainly one that we're familiar with down in Baton Rouge. How do you contextualize the end of that season and the way it happened?
Boy, for Arkansas, it hurts the most because you had a chance to believe, right? I mean, this team's been so consistent all season. Then you get to the postseason, and the bracket breaks pretty well. I mean, yeah, you knew you were going to have to go through LSU, but okay, considering how the bracket could have gone, that's manageable. So that happened. And then even last night, I mean, that team showed a lot of fight to come back the way they did.
They tie the game, take a lead. Like, it seemed like they caught some breaks, right? Like, there's an error on Jared Jones, and, you know, it kind of looks like, hey, okay, they're playing this game out, you know, the way they would have hoped, and then it's just one more what could have been for Arkansas, one more collapse, one more uncharacteristic thing. I mean, this was a great defensive team this season, and they just kind of forgot how to play defense at the end of that game there. And look, I've long believed, and I believe this is Mike Martin too. I think it's the same thing with Dave Van Horn. There's no such thing as jinxes, and I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with these men that lead these programs that leads to these kinds of things happening. But what I do think is real is that these players are smart. They know the history. They know how much it would mean to Arkansas as an institution, as a program, to Dave Van Horn specifically, and that creates real pressure. And so I'm not saying Charles Davalon's thinking about this as he's slipping and falling in the outfield, but that can be a cumulative thing that you just carry with you as a team. And I think sometimes when you get in these pressure cooker moments, that kind of stuff that's been weighing on you, that's kind of how it ends up being expressed, and you playing a little bit tight. And I have to imagine that's kind of what we saw last night.
I'm a lifelong Cubs fan, and I heard the Cubs talk about it after they won in 2016. Like, every single time we got into these moments, like, you think about it, you can't turn that off. The years of history that kind of weigh on you, and until you break through, it's just a tough thing to do. And if Mike Martin's career didn't exist, I don't know if I would believe Dave Van Horn's at this point. Walk me through your vantage point of the ground ball to Aloy and what you saw in real time.
In the immediate moment, because he had to move to his right, when he makes the force play at third, my first thought was, I don't hate that. It's a safe play. You get an out. You're still in a situation where, you know, you feel like it's 2 outs now. You take care of the batter, you're okay. And I had a decent amount of confidence if I were Arkansas. And even in my own mind, I was like, okay, they'll get an out here. So in my immediate reaction was, I don't hate that. Now, I wouldn't have done that, but I didn't hate that. And it's kind of funny how the perception of from watching in the press box or watching it, you know, in person versus watching the broadcast, because social media immediately blew up with a lot of criticism about Vahiva Aloy, and I kind of thought, like, that's crazy. Why are people so hung up on this? And then you find out, and this is not a criticism of Chris Burke, I think he's right. They were talking about it a lot on the broadcast, why he didn't go for 2. And so I think that's what's coloring a lot of that narrative. And fair enough to them, because I go back and watch the replays, and I've totally changed my mind. Like, you got to go for 2 there. The run at third doesn't mean anything, obviously. You're up 2. And then you've got to try to end the game there. And Stephen Milam's like, 3 steps out of the box? Yeah. So in hindsight, it's an egregious mental mistake. But in the moment, I have to admit, without kind of those other contexts, when it happened, I just kind of thought, okay, well, that surprised me, but they're still in pretty good shape here.
Oh, man, it was amazing. Now the LSU side of things. I mean, what can you say about this team's resilience and the way that it played out last night?
It's impressive. There's something about, you know, there's 2 pieces of this. One is that there is something about the name LSU or the Tigers across the front of the jersey that tends to do this to teams. They are a team that has that kind of aura with them. I think we've seen it with other teams in history. I think last year's Tennessee team was one of them, but LSU throughout history has kind of had this going. And they say getting 3 outs against the Yankees is different than getting the final 3 outs of a playoff game against the Orioles, for example. I think it's the same thing with LSU in college baseball. So I think we saw some of that, but also just the way this team is able to just find the right pieces at the right time, right? Like, Zach Cowan has not had a great last month, let's call it, maybe 6 weeks even. It kind of felt like the jig was up a little bit with him, and they put him out there to start, and he was great. Everything looked sharp. The changeup was back the way we saw it earlier in the season. And then with some of the moves he pulled, not all of them weren't great, but I think one thing this coaching staff does an excellent job of is not treating a game on April 10th as just a game on April 10th. Like, yes, they want to win that game, but that coaching staff always has one eye on what's going to help us win the national title. And so you see some things with pitchers they haven't had to use in a while, or position players that get at bats at seemingly random times. They just kind of understand the bigger picture at all times, and I think that's what drives that, which is that in any given moment, they know who they trust, and it might not necessarily be the guy you or I think they would trust in that moment based on who we've seen lately. And so I just think that's so valuable in these moments, that they really have gamed out every scenario and know who they want to go to. And that speaks to the depth too, right? Because, you know, I don't think Coastal Carolina has that same level of depth. They just have their guys, and it's going to be good enough or not. But LSU has options, and Jay Johnson does a masterful job of figuring out which option is going to be the best one in this specific case, and we saw it again last night.
Yeah, I got a text from a buddy that covers Arkansas from the press box yesterday and said, does he usually pinch hit for Stanfield? And I said, well, Brown's his chess piece, and he plays it sometimes in the third inning, sometimes in the ninth inning, but he's going to play it if there's a righty on the mound, and he certainly picked a great time to do that last night. All right, Coastal's played a couple games at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. LSU fans may not have seen very much of them because of that. They're pretty good by my eye. Give me the elevator pitch on what Coastal strength is.
They are professional. They move the ball well offensively. What I've been saying a lot this week is if they get a leadoff single, it is very likely that guy's not going to be left standing there by the end of the inning. Now, they may not score, but he's not going to be on first base. They're going to move him around somehow. So there's constant pressure. They make all the routine plays. They take all, if it's a dirt ball, they're going to take an extra base. They go first to third on singles. All that kind of stuff, which sounds a little cliche, but it really is true. You don't win 26 games in a row without doing all of that stuff pretty much flawlessly. Now, from the talent standpoint, where their bread is buttered, that I think actually makes this kind of a tough matchup for Coastal, is that they have kind of a mirror image of what LSU has on the mound in, okay, two guys that they feel like give them a chance to win every time out, and this is the first time all season where they're going to be in a series where, yes, Cam Fluke and Jacob Morrison are great pitchers, maybe two of the best 15 pitchers, maybe top 10 pitchers in the country starting the first two games of the series, but they're going to face off against two of the best 5 pitchers in the country in Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson. And so that, to me, that kind of offsets a lot of what Coastal wants to do because so much of what they do is predicated on those two guys being dudes. And to this point they have been, but they've not played LSU. They've not played a team like LSU, and that's going to be different. They're also built similarly offensively. Like, unless you want to say it's Jared Jones, and I guess you could make that argument, LSU's lineup's not really one built around one or two centerpieces you're hoping the lineup gets back around to. Same thing with Coastal. I mean, Caden Bodine in leadoff spot's a nice piece, but he's more of a, he's a good offensive player and an excellent defensive catcher. Their lineup is going to be one that has to get something from everybody, and I just like LSU's lineup a little bit better. So it's an interesting matchup. I think it's the one we deserve as fans because those two pitching matchups are just going to be just showcases for college baseball and the quality of pitching we have in the sport right now. But I have to imagine, LSU is sitting there thinking that they've got a little bit of an edge in a lot of the things that Coastal wants to do.
Beyond Morrison and Fluke into the bullpen and the third starter, how do you feel about Coastal's talent level when those guys come off the mound?
Yeah, that could be a little bit of a difference maker. Now, it depends on what you value, right? Because I think LSU's high-end guys in the bullpen, whether it's Cason Evans or this version of Cowan, if they go back to him at some point, those guys are better than what Coastal has. That being said, I mean, Coastal probably goes 6 or 7 deep with guys they really, really trust. So I think there might actually be a little more quality depth for Coastal, but I think when you get into these 3-game series, that matters a little bit less. Just the depth piece, because you're not going to use that many guys, and if you do need to, it probably means your starters didn't go deep, at which point it probably doesn't matter anyway. So that's where Coastal likes their depth, but I think the quality might be better on the LSU side. Now, if they do go to a third game, it's probably Riley Eichhoff, their Sunday guy, and he's just one of those classic Sunday college pitchers who throws a ton of strikes. And if there's a scenario where they've got him ready to go, and LSU on the other side has burned Cason Evans, and they have to go back to a Cowan or somebody else, like, I do think that gives Coastal a shot. Because I don't know that I'd necessarily say it's an advantage there, but I do think that levels the playing field a little bit, that they have a veteran, good college pitcher who's pitched in a lot of big games for Coastal over the years that has now pitched twice in Omaha and pitched well. So that's where it gets tricky. I mean, Game 3s are always going to be tricky for these teams, but I do think for LSU, you really like to get this thing done in 2 because I do think there's a lot of variables that come into play that could tilt Coastal's way if we get to a third game.
We've got a couple days before baseball starts, Joe. I know you all have got a ton of coverage over at D1 Baseball. Tell Tiger fans what they can go find over the next couple of days before LSU and Coastal kick it off.
Yeah, we're going to have there's a great column if LSU fans want to relive kind of that crazy game. My colleague Aaron Stitt wrote a great column after the game that he posted in the wee hours there. I'm going to have something up on the Arkansas side of it, just kind of like, the fact that here we are again, with Arkansas. Mark and I have a podcast, Highway to Hoover, should be up later this afternoon, so that'll be available, and we'll probably have some preview content as we go over the next couple of days, especially because we have a couple of days off. We're we're in a position where we actually do have a little more time maybe to put some preview stuff up. So I'm sure we'll have lots of other stuff that I haven't even conceived of yet up on the website before we have the first pitch here in a couple days.
A lot of purple and golds making the trip up from Louisiana to Nebraska over the next 48 hours. If you're looking to kill some time and enjoy some college baseball content, check it out at D1 Baseball's SEC Extra. Joe Healy, good enough to give us some time on this Thursday. We'll see you in the press box this weekend, Joe. Thanks, man.
All right, see you, buddy.
That is Joe Healy. When we come back, we're going to close out the hour. I'm going to talk about something that we have not seen in 16 years that we're going to get to see this weekend. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. I want to let you know that we have a local office in Baton Rouge that is able to handle your case with care and attention. After being in an accident, the last thing you want to do is travel. Our local hometown attorneys are here to ensure you receive the highest quality legal service and help get you the compensation you deserve. Reach out to our team of local attorneys to handle your case. Call us at 225-888-8888.
Get going. Hey, get it done. Get going.
Results may vary according to the facts of each case. Baton Rouge, LA 22-13-644.
Maybe you've heard that word of mouth is the best advertising. At Guarantee Media, we agree.
We have the biggest mouths in town.
4 local radio stations featuring influencers from Baton Rouge.
Local radio speaks to local people.
And our stations have the audience you need. Our marketing executives will help you fine-tune your message to reach potential customers more effectively. To learn more,
Visit 1045ESPN.com and click Connect. That's 1045ESPN.com and click Connect.
Hi, this is Ashley McDaniel with Landmark Bank. At Landmark Bank, we offer competitive CD rates, business and personal accounts, loans, mobile banking, and more. But what sets us apart is our personal touch and passion for our community. We believe that the future of our bank depends on the success and satisfaction of our customers. Come see a friendly face and someone who knows you and your business and wants to help you accomplish your goals. We're now open in Brewley and would love to talk to you. Give us a call at 225-250-5411 or stop in and see us. LandmarkBankLA.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Check engine light, weird clink, truck giving you a shake? Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in for service today. You don't have to wait. Same day service. Schedule now at BayouCDJR.com. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Struggling to lose weight? Feeling overwhelmed by diets and exercise plans that just don't work? There's a better way. Unique Physique offers weight loss injectable medications. Semaglutide, now only $195 a month, and Tirzepatide is only $325 a month. The lowest prices in town. No contracts, no gimmicks, just real results without the hassle. Visit UniquePhysique.com or call today to schedule a consultation and unlock your weight loss potential. Unique Physique, your weight loss solution.
The government can be messy. That's why I'm focused on helping you. I'm Congresswoman Julia Letlow, proudly representing Louisiana's Capital Region. You may be having issues with the IRS, the VA, or Social Security. If so, I'm at your service. Because that's what representation is all about, cutting through red tape to get results. If you're having issues with a federal agency, please reach out to me at letlow.house.gov.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
4th of July savings are here at the Home Depot with up to 40% off, plus up to an extra $600 off select appliances with free delivery like GE Profile. Simplify your routine with GE Profile appliances, from refrigerators with autofill pitchers and multiple dispensing options to all-in-one washer-dryer combos that can wash and dry a full load in under 2 hours. Shop 4th of July savings on top brand appliances now at the Home Depot. Free delivery on appliance purchases of $396 or more. Offer valid June 18th through July 9th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
As a fan, you know all the important sports cliches. And when you save money by bundling your home and auto with Progressive, you can get out there and give it 110%, even though that's mathematically impossible. And remember, failure is not an option. Well, it's always an option, just not a good one. But you're not worried because you've got ice in your veins. You're on fire. How can both of those things be true at the same time? Well, that's between you and your doctor. So get out there and leave it all on the field. Leave what? Who cares? Just leave it and save with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations.
Finding the right personnel for your organization can be a challenge. At Glow Resources, we take that job seriously, but not ourselves. We place the best people into the right job. Glow Resources, complete employee solutions. GlowResources.com.
Live from Omaha, powered by Our Lady of the Lake, Championship Health for everybody, and presented by GoFlow Ivy Spa and Yuengling Flight. You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Huge shout out to our sponsors for making this possible. As I've been in Omaha since last Thursday, officially been a week here in Council Bluffs and Omaha, and that is all thanks to the folks at Our Lady of the Lake, who were phenomenal in helping us, and certainly we appreciate those folks at GoFlow IV Spa as well as Yuengling for making all of our travel possible. We hope you all have enjoyed the content that I've been able to provide for you here on the radio as well as at LouisianaSports.net. I got some help coming. Rivers and Alondra are on the way north right now, and they'll be here tomorrow. So we've got a lot coming for you over the next couple of days. I'll have my show here as usual 1 to 3 tomorrow, and then a special pregame episode of the for LSU and Coastal on Saturday. I'll be on from 2 to 4 from right here at the Ameristar in Council Bluffs before 6 o'clock first pitch over at Charles Schwab Field. So very much looking forward to that. I mentioned as I teased into this segment that we're going to see something we have not seen in 16 years in this weekend, and that is an LSU ace taking the baseball in a championship series. LSU played Florida in 3 games in 2023. Paul Skeens did not throw a pitch. LSU played Florida in 2 games in 2017. And Alex Lang did not throw a pitch. Paul Skeens was the National Pitcher of the Year and the #1 pick in the draft. Alex Lang won 30 games at LSU over the course of his 3-year career and never threw a pitch in the championship series. You have to go back to 2009 when Lewis Coleman and Anthony Renato both pitched in the series against Texas to find an LSU ace taking the baseball in a championship series. And because last night went the way that it did, and Anthony Ianson did not come in because LSU did not have to close the game with a lead late, and because Cade Anderson did not come in the game and did not have to pitch today in a decisive game like Paul Skeens did 2 years ago, LSU has Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson lined up whatever order they want to use them. If you would like to throw Cade on normal rest Saturday to Saturday in Game 1, have at it. If you would like to get Anthony Ianson back out there after he threw 40 pitches in the game on Monday, you can do that too. You have carte blanche to do whatever you want. And that is a situation that LSU has not found themselves in 16 years. And it is so advantageous. We talk all year about having bullpen guys step up. And if you get into the losers bracket, this guy might have to start a game. This guy might have to do that. You might have, and all these scenarios that could happen en route to trying to win a championship. And I tell you this all the time. We can have those conversations in Baton Rouge in February and March. It would be foolish if they did that in Lubbock or Tucson. Well, not Tucson. That's a terrible example. In Lincoln, Nebraska. Because they don't get to championship series. LSU does. And so I can have those conversations with you, the listener, like, this is what you might have to do in Omaha. And Joe Healy just said that in the last segment, like, LSU does things with Omaha in mind 12 months out of the year. And now that Zach Cowan did that last night, that discussion's gone, y'all. It's gone. You've got a weekend series, and your entire staff is going to be ready to go because you've got 2 days off. I don't think Cowan will pitch on Saturday, but everybody else is ready to go. Like, Shores has been worked hard, and they may want to give him a day, but you can do whatever you want, and essentially this is now a weekend series. And that has not been the case for an LSU team chasing a championship in forever. It's an amazing feeling. It's one of the first things I thought of when they were mobbing Jared Jones in center field. It's like they got the pitching lined up. One of my buddies texted in our group text, and we got pocket aces. I hadn't thought of that term. I like it. It's a poker term, obviously, but that's what LSU's got now. And Joe just told you that in the last segment. Like, LSU might have 2 of the 5 best pitchers in the country lined up and ready to go. And, yeah, Coastal ambushed Alex Lang back in 2016. LSU can avenge that a little bit here 9 years later. Coastal left Jay Johnson's first national championship bid 90 feet away from home plate and closed out Arizona in the same year, 2016. So 9 years later, you look up, and Jay Johnson and this LSU program have a chance to get back what they lost that year against that opponent. It's kind of poetic in a way. And I was listening, somebody sent me a Facebook message the other day, a listener, and said, you know, LSU avenged 2017 in 2023. They can avenge 2016 in 2025 against that opponent. And it's true. There's an opportunity for that storyline to right itself. And it's very cool that LSU has put themselves in position to make that happen this weekend. So awesome stuff from the Tigers last night. We're not done talking about it. I'm going to spend the second hour talking about it and very much looking forward to that. I want to talk about Jared Jones at the top of the hour. Chris Blair is going to be with us in 20 minutes. He was on the call last night. His call is awesome. And Doug Thompson, once again, left the radio booth, which made me laugh really hard. He did for the Tommy White homer last year, and he did for the Jared Jones walk-off hit last night. It's a thing of beauty for the Duggar. We'll talk to Chris about that. If you missed any of the first hour, you can catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. Like, subscribe, rate, review. You can find us on wherever you find your podcast and certainly on YouTube as well. We're here at the Ameristar in Council Bluffs. Our Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We're going to step aside for Sports Center, get you some national headlines. I want to talk about Jared Jones when we come back on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
South Louisiana has long been the seafood capital of the world, and now you can get high-quality fried seafood at a quick-service restaurant. From the guys who brought you Couillon's Barbecue, it's Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Government between Foster and Jefferson. Enjoy clean fried fish and Gulf shrimp in our renovated dining room or drive on through. We've got catering packages for the tailgate and our tackle box kids meals for the little ones. Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Seafood. Government between Foster and Jefferson. CorksFishandShrimp.com.
Looking for the perfect ride for your next getaway? Rent a car for the week at All-Star Toyota and only pay for 6 days. That's right. Get 7 days of adventure for the price of just 6. Whether you're heading out on a road trip, need a vehicle for the week, or just want something new to drive, we have got you covered. At All-Star Toyota, we offer a wide selection of Toyota vehicles ready to hit the road when you are. Conveniently located at Airline at Goodwood in Baton Rouge, visit us today or check out our website at allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com for more details. All-Star Toyota. People you know, cars you trust.
At Gulf Coast Office Products, we do more than provide office equipment. We optimize efficiency for businesses across all industries. As a nationally recognized RICO dealer, you get decades of expertise to education, engineering, legal, finance, and beyond. From desktop solutions to high production systems, you'll find the perfect fit to keep your business moving forward. With 100 employees strong, we're ready to help. Call 225-756-2644. Gulf Coast Office Products, your workplace efficiency lifeline.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Kerry Bryson with the Bryson Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Bryson Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems. We're regulated by the Louisiana Bar Association, and we have an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Bryson Law Firm can help you navigate your way to the best resolution plan, and we will tell you upfront how much you can expect to pay us throughout this process. So before you send money to some out-of-town high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Bryson Law Firm. Our headquarters are located in Lafayette, Louisiana, and we have offices across the state. Call today at 1-855-LA-TAX-HELP to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm or visit brysonlawfirm.com. LSBA filing number LA2416924.
Termites are swarming, and your contract might not be enough. Locally owned Aero Termite and Pest Control has been fighting termites for 68 years, and now we're offering our termite contract takeover. Many homes qualify for Aero to take over your contract for close to your renewal price. With free inspections and our full arsenal of treatments, Aero's got you covered. Call us today at 225-751-8900 or visit us online at aerotermiteandpestcontrol.com to schedule your free inspection. When the bugs gotta go, call Aero Termite and Pest Control.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP of the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie truck.
$22,500 off a new 2025 Ram 1500 with employee pricing plus at Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
With the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou automotive vehicles. When we make a deal, we'll pay for your trade-off regardless of what you owe.
Shop BayouCDJR.com or visit us just off I-10 in La Plaza. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you. Your discount $15,000. Retail consumer bonus cash $5,000. Inventory bonus cash $2,500.
Brock is growing again. We're proud to welcome Dr. Jeb Broyles, Dr. Art Hess, Dr. Matt Mozik, and Dr. Alan Schroeder from the Bone and Joint Clinic. Another step in Brock's commitment to delivering high-quality orthopedic care. Learn more at brortho.com.
Insurance companies have teams of professionals to fight your claim. If you want to know what your case is really worth, I'm Spencer Callahan. I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA filing number 16-7970.
WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21 12681. Offices in Baton Rouge.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Larry O'Brien Trophy will be in the house tonight in Indiana. Thunder will be NBA champs with a win in Game 6 of the Finals against the Pacers. Indiana's star guard Tyrese Halliburton dealing with a right calf strain, doing everything he can to play. He'll be a game-time decision. And the Pacers will be leading on their depth in this must-win, explains two-time NBA champion Norris Cole.
And you can bring in Shepard off the bench or Macrin, put Macrin back into the starting lineup. Nembhard can go to the one and play from there. And then, everyone else can stay in their same slots. McConnell can continue to come off the bench and continue to do the things that he do. Obi Toppin can continue to come off the bench and do what they do.
Norris Cole on Unsportsmanlike. Game 6, 7:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio, 8:30 Eastern, ABC. ESPN's Shams Charania is reporting Rockets coach Ime Udoka has agreed to a long-term extension, making him one of the highest-paid coaches in the league. He led Houston to the West 2 seed this season. Baseball, Dodgers two-way star Shohei Ohtani will next pitch on Sunday against the Nationals. It will be his second pitching start of this season.
Your summer drink is here. Twisted Tea is a smooth, refreshing, hard iced tea with 5% alcohol, making it the perfect drink to take any day this summer to the next level. Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, this is Hunt Palmer.
He's quite a piece of work.
Hour 2, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show here from the Ameristar in Council Bluffs, Iowa, just across the river from Omaha, Nebraska, where LSU will play for an 8th national championship coming up on Saturday. They'll take on the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers at 6 o'clock Saturday, 1:30 first pitch on Sunday, and if necessary, 6:30 on Monday in a potential Game 3. LSU will be the home team in Game 1 and Game 3. Coastal Carolina will be at home in Game 2. That is predetermined to this point. So excited to get over there on Saturday, but we got a lot of work to do here in the meantime. Our Thursday shows are brought to you by Sagrera Farms, premium Angus beef, top 1% in all of America. That's the kind of beef we're talking about here, and I'm not guessing. They score this. The intramuscular fat content scores indicate just how good beef is. And if your beef is greater than 9% intramuscular fat score, then it's prime. And you're talking about animals that have been ultrasound in Sagrera Farms that are 12, 14, 16 on that scale. Truly some of the best beef in the nation is just outside of Baton Rouge. If you'd like to pack your freezer with whole cows or with sides, which is a side of beef, half the cow, contact my guy Sean Sagrera, 719-1723, 719-1723, and say, hey, I'd like to fill my freezer with some of the finest steaks, ground beef, chuck roasts in the world. He can do that for you over at Sagrera Farms. You know, last night was really special to watch for a number of reasons. But when you follow the team as a beat writer and covering them on this show, I hear a lot of quotes. I listen to all the press conferences. I listen to players talk before games, after games, in the middle of the week. I hear Jay Johnson talk, and you pick up on storylines and some things that that materialize over the course of a season and over the course of a couple years. And Jared Jones' story is awesome. He felt like, I might add incorrectly, but felt like he was not a huge contributor on the 2023 National Championship team. And he did not start a game in Omaha. So if that's what he's judging this by, then he's correct. But I would stand to suggest that when you hit 300 and you start 40 games and you hit 13 home runs, that you have a big piece of that season that's you're doing. And he's part of the reason LSU got a top 8 national seed in 2023 as a freshman. And that's part of the reason they got to Omaha, and it's part of the reason they won a national championship. Just because he didn't hit 3 home runs in Omaha doesn't mean he didn't play a huge part, but maybe his feeling that way has LSU where they are now, because he decided to come back based on the fact that he wanted one of the teams that he was a centerpiece on to go to Omaha and compete for a national championship. And that's why he came back for his junior year. He was a draft-eligible sophomore. He could have gone to the MLB draft last year. He didn't. He came back, continued to work on his game, and he was a monster reason why LSU got to Omaha. And then it's what you do when you get here. Legacies in Baton Rouge, because of the tradition of that program, are built in this city. Like, we just don't remember a lot of stuff that happens in April. We don't. I couldn't tell you what Cade Beloso did in 2023 in April. I don't even know if he was in the lineup every day. I have no idea. It was 2 years ago. I know he did in Omaha. He built an extra inning home run and helped beat Florida, game 1 of the championship series. That's when legacies are defined here. I can't give you much information on Paul Skeen's outing against Vanderbilt or Florida, whenever that was that LSU played. They didn't play Florida that year until the end. But I can tell you what he did in Omaha. I can tell you he dominated Tennessee, and he took on Rhett Lauder and Wake Forest. And like that, I'm not going to remember a lot of what Bear Jones did outside of maybe the home run at 1 o'clock in the morning against Tennessee. But I will tell you that when he got to Omaha, he's had 3 of the biggest swings, quite literally, in program history. I'm not going to put it right there with Warren Morris and Brad Cressy. But you talk about Tommy White's hit, yeah. Jared Jones hitting a 3-run homer against UCLA when you're down 4-1, when you're down 3-1, and giving you the lead in the first inning of that game is massive. And then coming back last night and homering off Gabe Gackle, who had struck him out 4 times this week. Monster swing. And then you needed more. And he comes up against Aiden Jimenez, who also has a really good slider, and wins the game with a line drive single to center field. And y'all know this story by now because you're paying such close attention to this team in Omaha. But you know that Jared Jones went 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts in the first game of the College World Series. And we'll probably remember that too. And you know that after practice on Sunday, he and Jay Johnson were the only 2 guys on the field taking BP, working on sliders. That pitching machine that you see in the tweet that I sent out and whatever video that you've seen, like that pitching machine was set on the slider setting. And Jared Jones just hitting the balls the other way, talking to Jay Johnson. This is not completely out of character. Like, they do that quite often in Baton Rouge. But everything's amplified this time of year in this city. And Jared Jones caught up to Gackle's fastball for the home run, but he got a slider from Jimenez, and he didn't try to pull off it or roll over it or hit it over the fence. He dove out over the plate, got the barrel to the backside of the baseball, and drove it into center field for the game-winning hit. And it's what he was working on 4 days previous. And all of these things are just as Jared Jones hoped for, what he dreamed of when he made the decision, 1, to come to LSU, and then 2, to come back for his 3rd year. And there's a redemption side of that with the 0 for 5 or 5 strikeouts, with the ball getting past him at first base last night to let the go-ahead run score in the 9th inning. And he redeemed himself every time. And that's just an incredible story to sit there and watch. I've got a column up on LouisianaSports.net right now that kind of details all of this and kind of what I've seen from Jared Jones. But how do you not feel so good for that guy? I mean, it's not like this is his only legacy. Like, this is a guy that is 3rd all-time in home runs at LSU. This year, he passed Blake Dean, and he passed Dylan Cruz. He passed Albert Bell, and he passed Trey McClure. Like, he passed some of the legends of LSU baseball in home runs. The only 2 guys that stand ahead of him on the all-time home run list are Eddie Furness and Brad Cressy, and those 2 guys played 4 years. So Jared Jones is bordering on legendary status at LSU when you consider where he's climbed to on the home run list, the fact that he might be a 2-time national champion, and then you look at what he's done here in Omaha with this team where he is a centerpiece when he didn't feel like one 2 years ago. This is an incredible story that we're watching here. and I talked about it consistently over the course of the week, like, you're probably not going to get a Derek Curiel or Stephen Milam 4 for 4 with 2 doubles and 2 singles from Jared Jones. You're probably going to get a strikeout. But how much damage can he do on his 2 swings, on his 1 swing? And to homer off Gackle, who's just a star, was incredible. And Jimenez has been one of their guys for Arkansas. And you knew that he was going to spin it and spin it and spin it and spin it. And Jared Jones' approach and his execution for what he's worked on to become a better hitter translated in the biggest moment of the season. It's incredible. Just incredible stuff from a guy who's worked his butt off and has been a monster producer for LSU. And I don't really care on Saturday if he's in the 2-hole, the 6-hole, wherever. I'm not as big on kind of lineup shifting and shaping. I think you just got to go get hits, and LSU's lineup is deep enough so that it should be stressful on a pitcher in every inning. And I think trying to forecast who's going to be coming up in the 6th inning or what, that's just tough to do in a baseball game. It never goes to script. But Jared Jones will be in there on Saturday, and I'll feel pretty good when he's in the box because he's got a chance to do some real damage. And he's done that here with a couple of huge home runs. There aren't a lot of balls flying out of that ballpark. Helfrich and Jones had to get all those to get out of the ballpark last night. But Jerry Jones can do it, and he's done it here, and it's been just incredible to watch him perform and know what he's gone through and the decisions that he's made that have led to this moment. So Jerry Jones, big, big hat tip from me, and I know that he's got a lot of fans in purple and gold after what he did over the week here in Omaha. So let's take a time out. When we come back, Chris Blair, the voice of the Tigers, was on the call, has been for every game here in Omaha. His broadcast partner bailed after the home run, which I just thought was hilarious. Love the Duggar when he gets emotional. He just got to get out of there. But he did last night, but Blair was all over. He did a great job, and he'll jump aboard when we come back on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that is on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. How does a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty sound? It's as good as you're going to find in the industry. 10 years, 100,000 miles. How about 3 years of complimentary maintenance? Make that complimentary valet maintenance. You don't want to spend the morning sitting there watching The Price is Right while they attempt to work on your vehicle? Well, don't. Let them come to you, pick your vehicle up. They'll leave you alone so you can get on about your day, and then they'll handle your maintenance. When it's done, they'll bring it right back to you. You never lift a finger. That's the convenience of being a Genesis driver. Check out the inventory. All of it's online, GenesisOfBatonRouge.com. Go by and see them. Airline at Pico. It's a phenomenal facility, conveniently located. If you're buying a vehicle in Baton Rouge, you're probably on Airline Highway anyway. Go check them out, Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find the entire inventory online at GenesisOfBatonRouge.com.
Stabs Prime Steak and Seafood? Stabs Prime Steak and Seafood. Well, I guess along with those sizzling steaks, we do have wood-fired oysters and scallops, beautiful sea bass, fresh Gulf fish and shrimp, and rich Ora King salmon. So yeah, Stabs Prime Steak and Seafood. Jefferson Highway across from Palermo Ristorante. Tell Leo that Kevin sent you. And don't forget, there ain't no cake in that crab cake. Come and see us.
Heart disease is the leading cause of death in the U.S., but it's also one of the most preventable. At Our Lady of the Lake Heart and Vascular Institute, you get innovative care from the area's leading specialists. Visit olol.com/heart. This summer, bring your backyard to life with a pool from Renaissance. Known for custom craftsmanship and one-on-one attention, Renaissance Home and Pools turns your vision into reality. Owner Joey Blanchard brings 20 years experience and cutting-edge 3D designs, so you'll know exactly what to expect every step of the way, from the first sketch to your first swim. Renaissance delivers pools built to inspire and to have fun in. Visit builtbyrenaissance.com and let your backyard renaissance begin.
Ochsner Orthopedics Walk-In Clinic offers more than just treatment for sports injuries. With comprehensive orthopedic care in their lineup, patients can get x-rays and treatment for sprains, strains, and fractures, all without the ER wait. Whether it's a weekend warrior mishap or a weekday workout injury, Ochsner Orthopedics Walk-In Clinic is there to help you stay active and strong. For injuries big or small, they have patients covered. Now open late and on weekends inside the Elite Training Complex Burbank, 5444 Burbank Drive.
Community banks touch every corner of our lives. They support this as we turn life's goals into accomplishments. Goals like going to college, opening a small business, buying a home, planning a wedding, or having a baby. From your first car to a new life after retirement, Landmark Bank is here for all of life's milestones. At Landmark Bank, we can provide you with various solutions through personal and business checking, savings, loans, and competitive CD rates. Let's get started. Call me, Jennifer Knapp, at 225-719-1578.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome to the Chevy Lightning Round. Guess the clues to win. First team, you're up.
Powerful, commanding, unstoppable.
Silverado.
Adventurous, fun, techie.
Trailblazer.
Stylish, nimble.
Trax.
Innovative, electric.
Blazer EV. Lightning Round champions. You've guessed all the right Chevy clues.
Wherever the year takes you, explore it together in the Chevy of your choice. See your Super Chevy dealers today.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
For a tax deduction, consider donating your car, boat, or RV to St. Vincent de Paul. SVDPVR.org.
Live from Omaha, powered by Our Lady of the Lake, Championship Health for everybody, and presented by GoFlow Ivy Spa and Yuengling Flight. This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
We are at the Ameristar Council Bluffs, Iowa, just across the river from Charles Schwab Field, Omaha, Nebraska. If you're coming up to Omaha and you're looking for something to do potentially on Saturday before first pitch, come on out and see the tables here at the Ameristar. They got great gaming floor and the sports book right here. The ESPN Bet Sportsbook's got a bajillion TVs. You can get some cash down on the College World Series and get something cold to drink, something good to eat as well. I spent a lot of time in that sports book over the last week. I've also spent a lot of time over at Charles Schwab Field. So is this man, Chris Blair, the voice of the Tigers, good enough to give us a little bit of time. Have you recovered from that one, Chris?
Yeah, I tell you what, it was. I wasn't up with the Roosters. Let me just say that this morning. I mean, it was. I literally got back to the hotel room and I'm like, wow, okay, I tried to unpack all of that. What happened? And then I think the last time I saw the clock, it was like 3:50. And then sometime after that, I eventually woke up today. But man, oh man, oh man. I mean, that's just crazy. I went back and just started looking at the box score and going through the play-by-play online. And when you look at what LSU did in the final two innings, offensively, when you just had to have it. I mean, again, you had to have some good fortune, and goodness knows Arkansas helped us out there. But, the runs that were scored, the key hits, and you said it a bunch, and I want to thank you again for joining us on the air and helping us with the broadcast. You did a great job. But, I mean, you said it a bunch of times in the first two games that LSU played, against teams like this, especially very good defensive teams, just put the barrel on the ball and blast it. Whether it's on the ground, a line drive, wherever, and I think that really helped contribute. You look at Hernandez hit. I mean, that was a nasty line drive flying in at Davalon. And you got to make a split-second decision on how you're going to handle that. Yep, you're up 2 runs. Maybe you put on the brakes, take it on a bounce, give up the run, and live to fight again and hopefully get the win later. Or you go in and try to be a hero. And I don't envy being in that position, anybody in that position. And then you see Bahiva Aloy, many people argued is the best shortstop in college baseball, and there's certainly a good argument for that. I saw the baseball bounce towards him, and I thought, okay, let's get ready for Thursday. And when he turned and pivoted and threw it to third, I thought, well, there's still a chance. And, that's the beauty of this game. There's no clock, and you got to get the outs, and Arkansas couldn't get it. And then to have Jared Jones do what he did after I know not just struggling in the first game against Arkansas last Saturday, but just the postseason in general. For him to go with those 3 big hits, I mean, and I go back, Hunt, and I think things were destined to be LSU's way because his first at-bat or his first hit of the night, he just kind of reached the bat out there. I don't even know if he got a full swing on it. I mean, he just literally pushed it out to left field because that's what LSU needed. And then for him to be able to deliver the home run to tie it, and then, of course, what he did at the end of the game, I mean, I just couldn't be happier for the young man. And happier for this group of Tigers. And, Todd Polick sent me an incredible stat last night. I'm sure he probably tweeted it out, but there's not been many times in this great program's history that they've been able to do what they did last night, and that is be down 2+ runs in the ninth and be able to win it. And to do it in Omaha in that stage against that team, holy cow.
It was something. I agree with Jay. He said they slayed a giant. I know Arkansas doesn't have the hardware, but they got the talent, and that's a hard team to beat. And LSU found a way to do it 4 times in 5 games, which is amazing. Playing the role of Caleb Gilbert and Nate Ackenhausen, Zach Cowan last night. Your thoughts on that performance and that spot after the month he's had?
Yeah, I know. You almost feel like you need to lead with that because you don't want that to be lost in what happened in the latter part of the game. But yeah, I mean, you pick a name and you go with Ackenhausen. I saw your tweet last night, and again, that's what you got to have. And it's something we've all said every time that you get to Omaha. I mean, you've got to have somebody who again, Zach's not a guy who we've been questioning all season. I mean, he was nails until really the last month. In fact, it was the Arkansas series, maybe arguably his best outing before last night. And goodness knows you got to have it. I mean, you think back to that first game of that series in Baton Rouge, it was Gabe Gackle and Zach Cowan going toe-to-toe late into that game into extra innings, and LSU was able to get the win because of the ability of Zach Cowan to hold the rope, and he was asked to do it again last night in a starting role, and I think he gave you what Jay Johnson and Nate Yeske were wanting and then some, and so I'm glad you brought that up because Zach Cowan is a big piece as to why LSU is going to the championship series.
I know that you spend a lot of time with Jay Johnson. You certainly watch this team throw every pitch, and I'm fascinated by the chess moves that he makes, whether it was that you go into Jake Brown against Gackle, whether it's when to get Ianson up or when to not get him up, and thinking about Thursday while you're playing Wednesday. I mean, what did you like about the way that Jay Johnson played his cards last night?
Yeah, it was masterful, and coaches make decisions like that all the time, and again, it all matters. It all is determined on what the final outcome is. But when you look at again the talent that is assembled for LSU, that you can't put them all on the field at the same time, and somebody will get hot, and somebody will go into a little bit of a slump, and there's always that first reaction to okay, just go with this guy every day. And Jay's not like that. And I think that's really probably his best asset as a coach is to, okay, this is the plan we're going to take going into the game, and this is the lineup we're going with, and this is the rotation we see coming. But his ability to go, okay, didn't work quite like we wanted it to. Now we've got a little change in the game. We're either up or we're down, and we're at this point of the game, and this is the move I'm going to make. I trust him. I mean, I've said it for, several weeks now. I mean, in Jay, we trust. When it comes to LSU baseball. Doesn't mean every move that he makes is going to work, and he'd be the first to tell you that. But there's always plenty of data, plenty of analysis, and plenty of information that goes to him making those decisions. And that's why, you mentioned a couple of moves last night that I thought were huge, and none bigger than, that move to go to Jake Brown. I mean, just simply because he's been red hot. He's a guy that is proven he can go from sitting right there on the bench to hopping up, taking a few swings on the on-deck circle, and then getting the job done at the plate, and he does it again. And, I think that's what probably opposing coaches probably dread more than anything else, Hunt, when taking on LSU, is that, okay, here's the starting lineup. Our guys are really playing well against them, but he can make a change either in the field or at the plate or out of the bullpen that a lot of teams can't make. And I think he does a very good job of it. And, I saw him yesterday before the game, cool as a cucumber because he had the plan. And then for him to be able to make the moves he does within a given game, again, not out of a knee-jerk reaction. Everything is always kind of calmly decided upon. And, I just think back about how lucky we are to have Jay Johnson running this program. And I get it. I'm biased. I'm purple and gold lenses, blah, blah. Hey, I get it. But when you see a guy that cares about his team, his player, and I think more importantly, Hunt, the game of baseball and how it needs to be presented and how it needs to be played and how it needs to be treated. And to see him going up to some of the Arkansas players last night, immediately following a game when their heart is literally ripped out and stomped on that field, tells me all I need to know about Jay Johnson. And then, as you said, the very respectful words in the press conference about, again, Arkansas kind of being the program when he got to LSU. That's who we got to chase. That's who we got to beat. And to give that kind of respect to your opponent is really, I hate to say it, it's kind of a fading thing these days.
I'm curious because they've heard from me, who was born in these colors, and we heard from Joe Healy in the first hour, who's just an objective journalist who didn't go to any SEC school, and then and we both agree about the kind of the mystique that LSU carries in this town. You've now been at this a decade here. Like, what are your thoughts on how LSU is able to rise to the occasion this place so very often?
It's just amazing. 6 College World Series walk-off in program history. They've been here 20 times. I mean, that's pretty amazing. 6 College World Series walk-offs. I mean, it seems like when the Tigers come here, even those who are objective, who have no bias, they kind of understand that crazy things happen when LSU is in the College World Series, and you never count them out. You think back to 17. I mean, there were certainly some days here in Omaha where it looked like, all right, we made it here, and it's just not going to work out, and we'll head on back. And you make it to the championship series. 2023, I mean, they had to fight their way, not only out of the loser's bracket, but they had to play some pretty daggone good teams, if you remember, to get to the championship series, and then played another really good team and got walloped in Game 2 and came back and gave a wallop in Game 3. I mean, it's uncanny, the history of LSU and Omaha in the College World Series. And, again, last night, Jared Jones and his Tigers, along with Zach Cowan and Jake Brown and Luis Hernandez and Stephen Milam, with, I think, one of the best defensive plays I've seen in a long time, early in the game on that sliding backhand to get Aloy out at first base. I mean, that's just what you kind of come to expect when the Tigers show up in the Heartland.
It's been impressive. Last one, I got back to the hotel last night, finished up doing some writing, and then I went back and looked at the stream of you and Bill and Doug in the box. I wanted to hear the call and see the reaction, and Doug did not disappoint. He bolted again, just like the Tommy White homer. I was cackling in my room at 1 o'clock in the morning. Great call, first of all, and second of all, Doug is cracking me up that he just can't contain himself when something good like that happens.
No, I mean, he gets so worked up, and you get it. I mean, he played. I mean, he certainly has that advantage way over me, and he's part of that special group of Tigers who obviously played and won a national championship. And, I think he just gets so worked up that he gets a little crazy with what might come out of his mouth, that could be understood or not understood at that point. So, I mean, we have fun. I mean, we had fun Saturday and Monday. I mean, it's the best job in the world, and I certainly don't take it for granted. And it's just amazing, and I get to work with great people who have so much passion for the Tigers, and you get moments like that. You don't, when he finally came back into the room and we went into a timeout, I said, I need you to kind of stay here because I'm not real sure what I said, and I need somebody to let me know if I said anything wrong or off color or blue or something that's going to get me fired. So I need somebody to stay in the room with me. But hey, it was fun.
Nothing blue. It was all good last night, all good in purple and gold. So we've been here a week. Let's do it a little bit longer, Chris. Thanks for the time.
Yeah, I'm waving to you across the river here from my hotel room. I don't know if you can see me, but let's stay a little bit longer. Sounds good to me.
All right, Chris, appreciate it. That is Chris Blair, the voice of the Tigers. I'm headed back over to Omaha here shortly. Going to go get some dinner this evening. I've spent a lot of time in the hotel, which has been great, but now that I feel like we've got a little bit of time to breathe and it's not just game after game after game after game, go and enjoy the town a little bit. And if you are coming to Omaha, I just made this decision. I'm going to write a little guide to Omaha for LouisianaSports.net a little bit later. There's a lot of baseball content up at LouisianaSports.net right now. You can read my column on Jared Jones, read my game story from last night. I've got a great piece, not because my writing was great, because Jay was incredible on Off the Bench this morning. If you missed his interview with Flynn and Hester this morning, he talked about all the moves that he made last night and why he did it. And I kind of took those quotes and applied them to the game situation. So if you'd like to read that, it's for free on LouisianaSports.net right now. But as I said, I'm going to write a guide to Omaha. I'm not part of the Omaha Chamber of Commerce. I'm not an expert on all things Omaha, but between 2009, 2012, 2009, 2013, 2023, and 2025. I've been here 4 trips, and I've been here for more than 2 weeks. So I've got a reasonable idea of some of the things to do, especially around the ballpark. So if you're headed to Omaha and would like just to kind of tip, you're kind of coming up here blind, like I'm just going to see the Tigers, what do I do? I'll help you out a little bit with some of that, and certainly the Ameristar here in Council Bluffs will be included. They've got a great sports book that's just to my right here. It's got all the games on. Unfortunately, a lot of the TVs right now are on the Cubs getting their butts kicked by the Brewers, and we don't like that. But it's a great sports book to come hang out in. They got a great gaming floor as well. My room's been phenomenal, and it's just a quick Uber, about $10 and about 5 minutes across the river to the stadium. So it's been awesome for me here, and appreciate all the folks that have made that possible. That is, of course, Our Lady of the Lake, Yuengling, and Go Flow IV Spot. Our Thursday shows are brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Beef. Let's talk some more baseball. We'll take a timeout, come back, and do that coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Vaughn and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Safety can be a big deal when it comes to the bathroom. It can be a hazardous spot, especially as folks age. So if there's someone in your life that you'd like to mitigate that risk against, slips and falls can be a real hazard. Call David Vaughn and his team. They do this kind of stuff all the time. They can go in, put in some non-slip floors. They can put guardrails around slippery places. They can give you a walk-in tub, which is more convenient and safer. They can do showers with the bench built in. All that is right in their purview. Check them out online at OneBathAndClosets.com. Get that free consultation. There are, of course, financing options available, 0% up to 18 months if you qualify for it. Just chat with David about it. Have that consultation. Start your process today at OneBathAndClosets.com. OneBathAndClosets.com.
Big news! Employee pricing is still going strong at Robinson Brothers Ford. You pay what we pay. That's right, you pay exactly what Ford factory employees and executives pay, including the F-150, Super Duty, Bronco, and Expedition. Robinson Brothers Ford is the dealer you can depend on with employee pricing on every new Ford online and on Airline Highway. And as always, no unexpected fees. Since 1946, Robinson Brothers Ford. Excludes TT&L registration, insurance, and dealer doc fee. Courtesy transportation units. And 70725.
Brandon Barton here to remind you it's hurricane season. No, I'm not here to sell you a generator. This year, we at K to Z Interiors and Outdoor Living think you should get something that's going to improve your life and your home's look all year around, not just hurricane season. And yes, we have products that are warranted for hurricane winds. See for yourself at K2ZBlinds.com and set up a consultation and complimentary installation. That's K2ZBlinds.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Get the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge mobile app powered by Bayou Ford and tap the microphone icon to send us your thoughts in an audio message. Your message could be played on air. Find our app in the Apple or Google Play Store. For direct links, visit 1045ESPN.com. Tigers, Saints, Southeastern Conference, all in one place. LouisianaSports.net. No paywalls, no article limits. It's just the coverage the Louisiana sports fans want. Bookmark it today. LouisianaSports.net.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Kerry Bryson with the Bryson Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Bryson Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems. We're regulated by the Louisiana Bar Association, and we have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Bryson Law Firm can help you navigate your way to the best resolution plan, and we will tell you upfront how much you can expect to pay us throughout this process. So before you send money to some out-of-town high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Bryson Law Firm. Our headquarters are located in Lafayette, Louisiana, and we have offices across the state. Call today at 1-855-LA-TAX-HELP to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm or visit BrysonLawFirm.com. LSBA filing number LA2416924.
Facing ED or low T can be frustrating, but it doesn't have to hold you back. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers effective treatments starting at $125 a month with no contracts. Visit yourgoodwood.com and take control of your health.
Live from Omaha, powered by Our Lady of the Lake, Championship Health for everybody, and presented by GoFlow Ivy Spa and Yuengling Flight. You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday show is always brought to you by Sagrera Farms, premium Angus beef, top 1% in America, and it's right outside of Baton Rouge up there in Ethel. Talking about incredible intramuscular fat scores that are 9, 10, 12, 14, 16. 9 is prime. This is truly some of the best beef in America. So if you're looking to fill your freezer with some flavorful, tender beef that's a 3-year process in the making, raised on grass, finished on grain, dry-aged 45 days, and you want a whole cow or a side, they can get you fillets, ribeyes, strips, flanks, chuck roasts, all that in your freezer so you can have the finest for 4th of July, grilling season all summer long. Call my guy Sean Segura, 719-1723, 719-1723. Everything they got is prime, and you don't spend a cent until you've picked out exactly what it is that you want. You'll know exactly where your beef's coming from. You don't have to ask questions. You go, what is this? Is this grass raised? What corn raised? Is this, how many animals are in this pound? No, you don't have to have any questions. Consistency, excellent product at Sagrera Farms. Some of the finest beef in America. They bring you our Thursday shows each and every week. We have talked about Jay Johnson's masterful use of his team last night. We've talked about Jared Jones and what a phenomenal journey he's been on. We've talked about Arkansas and their inability to make the plays when you have to make the plays at the end of games. We've talked about LSU's phenomenal defense. Stephen Milam's just been a wizard out there. Of course, you did have a couple of misplays last night. Jared Jones, you'd like to catch that ball in the double play. Yeah, you wouldn't like to throw the ball into center field when they're stealing a base. Like, they did make some misplays in the game, but the defense did have some spectacular efforts as well. We've talked about a lot of that. I think, and I mentioned it with Chris there in the interview in the last segment, one of the things that I haven't spent a lot of time talking about in the course of this hour and a half has been LSU's pitching last night. Zach Cowan, I thought 2 innings, 3 innings max against this lineup. I mean, this might be the best lineup in college baseball that you're facing. Aloy is a big leaguer. Davalon, to me, is a big league hitter. Maxwell is a phenomenal college hitter. Helfrich is having a great year, hit the home run last night. Even Justin Thomas at the bottom of the lineup, the freshman, who's hitting now over 300 with 10 home runs. It's a great lineup, 1 through 9, maybe the best in college baseball this year. And you ask Zach Cowan to go out there and get you off to a good start. And I tweeted this, got a lot of blowback on it. I thought at the end of the third inning, one time through the order, like that was it. Like, I don't think they need to see him a second time. Fastball's 90-91. You know, I didn't think that giving Arkansas 2 looks at him was going to be advantageous to LSU. And Zach Cowan blew right through that. He worked into the 6th inning last night, 5 1/3. Did not issue a walk, 6 strikeouts, and only gave up the 1 run on the home run by Helfrich. That was a sensational performance. And I was writing my game story for LouisianaSports.net, and this is a little bit inside baseball, but when you write a game story, you lead with the most important content. And oftentimes in a baseball game, you're going to lead with the stuff that happens in the 8th and 9th inning. Well, in this game, yeah, you're going to do that because you're talking about a game where you had 8 runs scored total between the two teams in the 8th and 9th inning. So that's where I started my story. But I realized as I was wrapping things up that, like, I got to talk about these 2 starting pitchers. And Cowan was awesome in the game. 6 strikeouts against that lineup. Oh, great. And then Jaden Newt comes in, throwing BBs, man. He faced 3 batters, got them all out, had a strikeout. Like, he looked great. And then when you felt like it was time to finish it, you went to Chase Shores. And you thought at that point, and Jay talked about this after the game, like, the plan was to go Shores to Ianson to finish it if it was close and LSU had a lead. It had to be both of those things. And I mentioned that on the show yesterday, like, it's got to be both. You got to have a lead, and it's got to be close. If you have a big lead, you're not going to Ianson, and if you're behind, you're not going to Ianson. Well, they had it. When Brown gets a single, it's 2-1. It's time to go. So they go to Shores, and he looked awesome. 2 strikeouts right out of the chute. And then you got to credit Arkansas, because it's not like Chase Shores lost his release point. It's not like he was all over the place. I mean, he hit the one guy, but he was throwing strikes, and they were hitting it. Aloy took a slider just below the knees and rifled it into left field. Thomas's swing was great, and they hit you. Sometimes it happens. They're good. But a guy that will not get any credit for last night, if I gave you a notebook and a piece of and a pen, and I said write down the 7 most important guys from tonight, I don't think any of you would have taken that pen and written Jacob Myers. He threw 9 pitches. But he left an insurance run stranded on third base with a strikeout. So that's huge. Huge. And Myers' issue is never stuff. It's, can he throw it over the plate? And in the biggest moment of his career, they asked Jacob Myers to go out there, and he threw 7 strikes in 9 pitches. That's what you had to have. You've got to have some of these guys step up in a College World Series if you're going to win it. And LSU would have loved to win the bracket in 3 games by going Anderson, Ianson, Evans. But rain didn't allow for that. You had to go back with Evans after the delay on Tuesday, so you were compromised in Game 3. Now you had a game to play with, so you just moved forward. But it was not a good break, and it meant you were going to have to go a little bit further down the line with your pitching staff, and you knew that those names were likely Cowan, Newt, and Myers. Cooper Williams is in that discussion. DJ Primo's in that discussion. But these were the guys you were going to have to go to. And to me, job well done. Shores hit 1 guy with the slider. Beyond that, you want to see this stat? LSU did not issue a walk in 9 innings against Arkansas. None. 0. That is nails by the back end of your pitching staff. I expect that from Anderson and Ianson. But for Newt, Shores, Myers, guys that at times have lost their command, less so Newt, but certainly Shores and Myers, to not put anybody on via the base on balls, just 1 hit by pitch, that's incredible. Incredible. You faced 38 Arkansas hitters and didn't walk a single one of them. And I just think that deserves its own segment here to talk about. Because that's not doing that against Louisville, who Coastal just beat. That's not doing that against Murray State. You had to go through, as Jay Johnson said it last night, and I completely agree, a giant. I know it's an empty trophy case over there in Fayetteville. I know. That does not take the talent off of that field. It's immense. It's loaded. And LSU stared them right between the eyes on Saturday with your ace, and then on Wednesday with the back end of your staff, and beat them. And you beat Root, and you beat Gackle, and you beat Jimenez. You beat Gibbler. That's the best they got to offer. The only guy you didn't see from Arkansas is Gage Wood. You saw him in Baton Rouge and chased him after 2 innings. Arkansas's got a little bit of an LSU problem. They've never beaten LSU in Omaha. I think now 0-6 in Omaha. And, I'm not going to spend a lot more time moving forward talking about Arkansas because it's all Coastal now and it's trying to win a championship, and that's what this program is built on. But I think it is worthwhile to take a second and go, man, Dave Van Horn has built a power program at Arkansas, and they cannot beat LSU. And Jay Johnson said in his press conference last night, when I got the job, I felt like we had to try to catch Arkansas. And I will tell you a candid story about an interaction that I had with Jay Johnson. It was after LSU had won the 2023 National Championship, and I was walking to the first home football game of 2023, and I ran into Jay. And I asked him a question about Arkansas starting fall baseball so early because I'd gotten a picture from a beat writer on Twitter that said Arkansas was starting. I knew LSU didn't start for 5 more weeks. And we started talking about Arkansas, and he's like, yeah, I'm just feel like we're trying to catch them. And keep in mind, LSU just won the national championship. And he felt like we're just trying to catch them. Well, I don't think you got to have that conversation anymore. Like, it's just, you won it in 23. You've gone right through them in 2024 and beaten them 4 times in 5 games. And now you're playing for another national championship. So LSU, to me, is the standard. And I know that Tennessee wants to beat its chest, and they've certainly won more games than anybody over the last 4 seasons. And that's a giant of a program. But guess what? Arkansas punked them 2 weeks ago, and then LSU turned around and did it right back to the Hogs. So you tell me who feels like they're top of the pile. That's what it feels like to me. All right, one more segment to go. We'll take a timeout, come back and close things up. It's a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Jonathan Carver and his team, phenomenal folks to work with on the insurance front. And one of the things that they pride themselves on is their ability to handle captives. And if you're a sizable company that feels like you're paying way too much for commercial insurance, this could be a game changer for you. If you've never had your insurance broker mention a captive or show you what that might look like, it's worth looking into, I can promise you. It's a completely different way to manage your risk inside your insurance program. And if you've never looked at it, let Jonathan Carbo and his team come and tell you how that might look. They deal with it all the time. Go check them out at HighlandIG.com. Say, hey, I heard Hunt talking about captives. Like, what's the deal? Jonathan's happy to walk you through that. It's the Highland Insurance Group. They're based in Baton Rouge, can help you out wherever you are in the state of Louisiana. Check them out online, HighlandIG.com, HighlandIG.com.
Attention veterans in Baton Rouge. Operation Homefront's Transitional Homes for Veterans program is offering rent-free homes right here in our area, plus financial counseling to help you build savings and secure your future. If you've served honorably and are within 1 to 3 years of discharge, don't miss this opportunity. Apply now at Operation...
Yeah, 1 second. All right, go ahead.
All right. Hey, it's Hunt. Join me for a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show live from the Ameristar Casino Resort in Council Bluffs. Brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. All eyes on LSU and Coastal. Hunt Palmer Show 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Nurses are now offering in-home or at-work therapeutic phlebotomy services so you can maintain healthy red blood cell levels and stay hydrated. Decision Critical works with your healthcare provider to reduce your need for frequent clinic visits. It's not just healthcare, it's healthcare for your lifestyle. Visit DecisionCriticalBR.com to schedule a discovery call today.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Before every game, you're reminded that Tiger Stadium is a pantheon of concrete and steel. When it was time to add upper decks, do you know where that concrete came from? It's Louisiana Concrete Products. Whether it's the next Gulf hurricane or Death Valley earthquake, you can trust Louisiana Concrete Products.
Have you ever heard of a trash company having 5-star reviews? At Trash Rangers, we have over 1,000 of them because we take care of our customers. See for yourself at trashrangers.com today.
Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. 5 brands on one lot. Shop BayouAutomotive.com.
Live from Omaha, powered by Our Lady of the Lake, Championship Health for everybody, and presented by Go Flow Ivy Spa and Yuengling Flight. This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Shout out to the folks at Sagrera Farms, premium Angus beef. Every cow, 3-year journey, raised on grass, finished on grain, dry aged 45 days. Where can you find that? Very, very few places. If you're tired of having questions about the meats that you purchase to bring home, whether it's ground beef, steaks, just erase those questions. Go to Sagrera Farms and get some of the finest beef in the nation. Top 1%. It's all prime there at Sagrera Farms. Call my guy Sean, 719-1723. Again, that's 719-1723. It is Sagrera Farms. All right, back. We got one more order of business. Let's do some take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yuengling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Just take it.
You want to talk about Yuengling, Hunt?
Oh, I forgot to do that, didn't I? I'm sitting here trying to look at equipment going, I can't hear back. I'd love to talk about Yuengling because it's awesome. And it's hot outside, and there's no better beer to drink when it's hot outside than Flight by Yuengling. Love it. It's awesome, cool, crisp, refreshing. Got 2 cans right here on set. You're talking 2.6 carbs, 95 calories, golf course, swimming pool, at the grill, tailgating, watching the Tigers in the championship series. You're looking for a cold beer to throw back in the summer months. Flight by Yuengling is the best one you can buy.
All right, first one here. Not sure if you saw this, Hunt, but Kyler McDaniel just released his latest 2.0 MLB mock draft. And number 1 overall, Cade Anderson, number 1 to the Washington Nationals. That may not be that much of a surprise. And this one won't be either. The Cubs at 17 taking Wahiwa Aloy in the 17th spot there. So Anderson going number 1 overall and Aloy to the Cubs at 17. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it all. I like that.
I'll take it.
Look, Wahiwa Aloy may not know. We can teach him what base to throw to in the minor leagues. We'll get that figured out, and he can hit like he did against Chase Shores, like a rocket into left field. Yeah, I'll take that all day long. So not a fan of Wahiwa Aloy's college choice, but if he's selected by the Cubs and knows that he can throw it to second base to get a double play and end the game, we'll figure that out. I like that.
All righty, a last one real quick. The Pacers and the Thunder, Hunt. They're tonight at 7:30, Game 6. Winner go home for the Pacers. Who do you like the Pacers? Take it or leave it?
I'll take it. I think the Pacers are good. I think the Thunder are better, but I like the Pacers team. I've watched a little bit since I've been up here and I spent a lot of time in the sports book. Y'all know that I didn't watch a ton of the playoffs, so I'm not going to sit here and proclaim I'm an expert. But I've watched a little bit of the Pacers since I've been here, and I like the way they play.
Let's see if Tyrese Halliburton's going to play because it's Game 6 of the finals, and it's a winner-go-home situation. It's a must-win, Hunt. This is actually a must-win game for the Pacers.
I like that, Beck.
Yes, and Tyrese Halliburton is going to play, but whether or not he can be effective is going to be the real question. But you know, in Game 5, I watched a good bit of it, and he did not make a single field goal. He scored all his points from the free throw line, and they still got to within 2 late in the fourth quarter. So you know, as long as the other guys, Pascal Siakam, T.J. McConnell had a great game. As long as those guys can step up, and Tyrese Halliburton can play a little bit better than he did, and they're playing at home too. So I'm with you there. I like the Pacers as well. But that's it for take it or leave it.
Beck, let's talk about this briefly while we have 2 minutes.
All right.
You know, if LSU had gotten eliminated early, I wasn't going to have to deal with this. And if LSU wins this national championship or loses it in 2 games, I'm not going to have to deal with it. Now I really have to take into grips the reality that I might be on this flight that we booked back in January on Tuesday morning. It's at 5:25 in the morning. Is that good or not good?
It's not good because if they win, and if they win, and you're gonna have to wake up at like 2:30 to go catch your flight. Like that's gonna suck.
Yeah, and I land in New Orleans at 10, which means I'm going to have to do my show. If I land in New Orleans at 10, I can get to Guarantee for 1 o'clock. So that's going to be – I mean, if LSU wins the national championship, I'm not going to care. I probably won't go to sleep, honestly. but that is an early flight. Healy, we got to talk about this next time Haley's booking flights. 5:25 is just obnoxiously early. Is there an Uber here at 3 o'clock in the morning? I guess there's still Ubers out at 3 o'clock in the morning because people are going in at 3 o'clock in the morning more than they're leaving.
That's true. You shouldn't have a problem finding Uber because there will probably be LSU fans out at 3 a.m. on that night. So, but yeah, maybe try to look and see if there's any other options for the.
How about the 2 p.m. flight? How about that?
Yeah,
that sounds really nice.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, you won't even have to do your show. Like that seems like for you maybe the best.
Here's what we need: Anderson dominate, Ianson dominate, kick this Sun Belt team to the curb in 2 games, and I can fly back on Monday at not 5:25 in the morning. How's that sound?
For you that sounds great. It sounds good for me too. I think because otherwise we'll have to try to piecemeal something together for the show. So let's do that.
How much time do I have left?
You have about 45 seconds.
45 seconds. I can handle 45 seconds. You missed any of today's show reacting to LSU and Arkansas. We invite you to catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. We appreciate the great folks at the Ameristar here in Council Bluffs. We will certainly be here tomorrow for my show, and then a special preview episode on Saturday, getting ready for LSU and Coastal. I'll be on right here from the Ameristar, just outside the sportsbook from 2 to 4 before LSU and Coastal. Matt's about to drive you home. Have a good one. See you tomorrow. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yo, Jake and Flynn here. When it comes to roofing repair and new roofs, there's a #1 top-rated roofer you need to know.